Hey, Alex Kubasek here with ConvertSource. Today on the ConvertSource podcast, we are going to be going over the secret sauce behind successful digital marketing campaigns. More often than not, you've probably run into a lot of roadblocks before. You've probably listened to many YouTube videos, probably gone through a ton of different hurdles and obstacles, and really listened to many gurus out there. However, so many of them leave just enough behind where you're still stuck in an let's just call it tug of war with algorithms and so many different things. But today on the podcast, we're going to be specifically going over what you need to be looking at, how you need to be thinking about your campaigns, and really talking about the secret sauce behind successful digital marketing campaigns.
3, 2, 1.
When you want your leads and sales on autopilot and to accelerate your business, you come to the source. The ConvertSource podcast with Alex Kubasek. Let's go.
All right, so today we're diving into a big thing here. So many people have gone online and they have Googled their way through digital marketing their business or marketing their business online. It's kind of like whenever somebody says to you, don't go on WebMD and look up an ailment that you might be having if you're feeling sick or typing in symptoms, because the fact remains is that we're all online doctors, right? And we kind of like to know or really kind of scratch that itch ahead of time. Why? Because we want to be able to wrap our brains around it. We want something that's a little bit more immediate, some instant gratification. Some of us might want to try to avoid the copay or what have you. But so many business owners out there, so many business people out there. Doesn't matter what industry or vertical you're in. Doesn't matter your service, your product, your niche, what have you. At one point or another, you have Googled something about digital marketing online. The thing is, and the problem with doing that is, it's really not one size fits all. Google is not one size fits all in terms of an answer. Sometimes it can be in terms of like maybe where to place a pixel, how to use this. But as an overall general, let's just call it rule of thumb on how to be successful online, it just doesn't fit the bill. You can't ask any questions. You can't get real actionable insight. Like I said in the beginning of the show, so many of those folks who are doing it online and kind of like projecting out what they've done and how they've been successful, they will normally tell you just enough to get you drooling, but they will leave enough behind to where you're going to reach out to need their help. Now, I can't really fault them because they're a business. They're trying to make money too. And they want, I'm sure most of them generally want to help, but at the end of the day, that doesn't necessarily help scratch your immediate itch, right? That isn't necessarily good for you because you might see something online. You might think, okay, this makes sense. You might go put it in motion. You might put a few dollars behind it. But the thing is that one thing that they held back, that might have been the key to the success of that particular campaign. So in that regard, Googling your way through marketing your business online is a risky business. Let me repeat that. Googling your way through marketing your business online is a risky business. So today what are we talking about here? We're talking about this secret sauce. Now, of course, hopping on here and screen sharing, how to build a Facebook advertising campaign, how to build out a Google or a YouTube or an Instagram or a TikTok or a Snapchat advertising campaign. That would be very advantageous. Now, that's probably a longer discussion. And if that's something you guys want to see, feel free to shoot us a message, support@convertsource.com. We'd be happy to put that together. We're actually in the process of launching a brand new training platform that literally shows you how to do all of the pixeling, the placements, the campaign build outs, the this for every single platform that there is where you can market your business. We're going to be launching a brand new platform that you're going to be able to have as a digital library, if you will, to where you don't have to sift through YouTube videos to see if you're placing this pixel right, or if you're choosing the right optimization. It's all going to be in one place for you that you can access 24/7, 365. But past that, let's just talk about the sauce, right? Because when you try an amazing sauce, let's just say you're of Italian heritage and your grandmother or your great grandmother had this sauce recipe that's been passed down to only your family for generations. You have a friend over and they say, "Oh my gosh, this sauce is so fantastic. What's in it? How do you make it?" Obviously, the first thing you say is, "It's a family recipe. I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you," or something along those lines, right? Well, then that leaves the person wanting more. They really want to figure it out. So what they do is they start, in this day and age, start Googling top pasta sauces, this, that, and the other thing. Now, of course, what's going to happen? You're going to find a plethora, a never-ending supply of recipes. But the problem is that it's not necessarily going to taste just like that. Yes, you might get lucky and you might fall on something that tastes similar, but obviously that is kind of like 1 in a billion type thing, right? But the problem is that you have so many recipes to sift through. I don't know about you, but that's going to be a big Costco or Sam's Club bill to obviously be able to create many renditions of that sauce, right? So in this case, wouldn't it make more sense just to be able to not have to Google your way through it, but already understand how it's made? That's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be telling you the onion count, or just all of the measurements of the garlic, the onion, the oregano, all of that stuff. So let's just really jump right in now that I've said a ton of analogies. Obviously, so many people are going to say, okay, well, you need a traffic source. So a traffic source, if this is the first time that you've been on the show, traffic source is going to be something as simple as email marketing, let's just say, or an advertisement on Facebook or social media marketing, right? But the thing is, and this is where a lot of people get, what's the word I'm looking for? They get a little bit lost in the weeds and they start putting themselves behind the 8 ball whenever they didn't have to. What I mean by that is, on this show and just ConvertSource in general as a company, we 100% believe in that no matter what business, what product, what niche, what service, it doesn't matter the skin that your business wears. We want to help you put your leads and sales on autopilot. We want to give you either the knowledge and teach you how to fish, or if you don't have time to fish, we can go ahead and do the fishing for you. But we want to put your business on autopilot, right? Or as much on autopilot as it possibly can be, so that you can do things that enrich your life, spend time with your family, go on vacation, what have you. So that requires a system, right? So that requires the ability to systematize everything that you already do offline, and a lot of the things that you might, I mean, let's face it, this is the digital age. There are many things that you might already be doing online, but how can we marry them? How can we put them together so that it's all working seamlessly without you even being there? Because let's face it, even if you work 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 hours a day, right? At some point, as human beings, we have to turn the lights off. So wouldn't it make sense to have a system in place that runs 24/7, 365, that does all of the attracting, qualifying, and nurturing and converting for you, right? That obviously makes sense. Because, and the other thing is that you can only cold call so much during the day. You can only prospect so much during the day before you have to get other work done. So then we're talking about becoming omnipresent. How do we make our business omnipresent at exactly the right time when our ideal customer wants to speak with us, engage with us, all of those things that are valuable to our business? So we need a system in place before the traffic starts. And that's very important. That's where so many businesses put themselves behind the 8 ball and they didn't need to. So like I said, what comes first? The system. So what is entailed in a system? What comprises a system? The first thing I need you to think about, and you can actually answer that question for yourself, is I want you to take a couple of seconds and I want you to write down on a piece of paper what your ideal deal-making process would look like. Go ahead. Literally from how you would get a lead or how you would get somebody into your e-commerce platform to start buying a pair of shoes or what have you. What would that process look like? Like in a perfect world, if you could remove all of the friction out of the Perfect deal. What would that look like? Write that down. Okay, you got that in mind? Perfect. So that is exactly how we are going to make the perfect deal, but we're going to digitize that process. And not only can we digitize that process, but since that is a digital system, it is more than just one person. It can be omnipresent. If you have leads coming in from email, if you have leads coming in from YouTube, if you have leads coming in from your Google ads, your Facebook ads, your Snapchat ads, wherever your leads or your traffic is coming in from, that system can handle the attracting, the qualifying, and converting for you. So in this case, for somebody who is selling insurance, for example, or a real estate agent, or somebody who deals heavily in lead volume, a perfect deal might be that they had a lead come in, whether it was on a get a quote for a policy or if it was a property that somebody was interested in. But then instead of you having to pick up the phone and basically start chasing after them, yes, in the old days, having a lead come in and you call them right away and they'd be so interested, et cetera, that used to be the way to do it. Right now, it's basically kind of just like, oh my gosh, I just opted in for this. Give me a second. I'm interested, but I'm also at work. I can't talk right now. There's a bunch of different things that are happening at that time, right? So that's a really good way to lose an interested lead. So you might be thinking to yourself, but if I don't call them or if I don't jump on that right away, I'm going to lose them to somebody else. Here is where the systematization to start qualifying the prospect or the lead comes into place. So in this case, we've got, let's just say, somebody that wanted an insurance policy quote. All right. They filled out all their information. You now have a lead and you have their information. Rather than you calling them right away, what if, because they might not be ready, it might be the middle of the day and they were at lunch. They can't go on a phone call right now and talk to you. That'd be really hard for them to carve out that time. So we need to make it so that we are making automated touch points. And when I say automated, it's not a robot. You are literally going to be the one doing the programming of the messaging that reaches them so that it can capture your voice, how you speak to people and prospects. So in this case, we might send a confirmation email right away, confirming all of their input and letting them know, hey, we've received this. We're in the process of putting this together. We will get right back to you with your customized quote, right? So that's an email that goes right to them. And believe it or not, that is something that people are already expecting whenever they request something from you. Just because they requested a quote does not mean they are saying, please call me 19,000 times. The reason being is because they might not be ready to hear from you. They're probably shopping around. So what you do now is you make automated touch points. So here, you're probably thinking, all right, well, if I'm going to be getting back to them, okay, what have you. Well, in that next email, instead of just submitting an attached quote to them, right? Because that's still via email. It can get lost. In that same email, feel free to put in there your automated link to literally where you can schedule an appointment to go over all of the in-depth policy information to make sure that you are solving all of their problems and their needs. Doesn't that make sense? Exactly. So now we're creating multiples of those because you can make it so that your automated system, if somebody didn't open the first quote email with the booking link, you can have automation set up that says, if they didn't do this, then hit them again with the same email and keep doing that until they open up the quote and book the call, right? Because we want to make sure that we are not extending ourselves past what we need to, because we need to be focusing on doing more of what we do best. And if you're a real estate agent, that means doing real estate agent responsibilities or broker responsibilities. If you're an insurance agent or insurance broker, taking care of those responsibilities. With these types of systems in place, and this is just one system, it's not one size fits all, like I said at the beginning of the show, you're going to be able to then, once somebody actually books that call with you or takes that value action with you, you're going to be able to now know that you're getting on the phone with somebody who is more likely to do business with you than somebody that you just started calling because they requested a quote, right? No longer is it the days of just because they requested a quote doesn't mean that they exactly want to do business with you and only you. So we've got to qualify them and nurture them to get them to raise their hand and say, yes, I requested a quote, but now I actually want to move forward with you, right? Because they reviewed the quote. Now they want to discuss it. Now, doesn't that make sense? That means that you're only getting on the phone with people who are most likely to do business with you. So what does that do? That decreases the amount of time and effort that you have to put into the sale, right? Or into the deal. So what does that automatically do? That automatically raises your return on investment and it shortens your sales cycle. And all of this was done on autopilot. So do you see how important the system is to the success of your business online? Now, once the deal is closed, obviously there are certain back office things that probably need to happen, right? There's going to be some things that, I'm not in the insurance business, so I don't necessarily know, but I'm sure that there are back office things that need to be taken care of and need to be handled, because I'm sure that there are industry specific platforms to help you with some of those things, like a CRM, customer relationship manager. So what that does is that means that everybody that comes through your ecosystem, every single person, they are going to be tagged at a different level of interest along their buyer journey because not everybody is ready at the exact same time. That's why we have to have this system in place to make it so that we are answering somebody's solution or problem right when they want to hear it or need to hear it or need that solution. And we can do that. And it's not just one at a time. It's your entire sphere all at the same time, right whenever they need to see it. So of course, not everybody's going to opt in at the exact same time and get all the information at the exact same time, right? That's why we have to have this system in place so that it is doing the communication, nurturing, qualifying, and converting for us at the ideal time that person needs to hear from us, that needs that solution from us. So that also makes us omnipresent. I don't know about you, but I can only make so many phone calls during the day. But what if you could be qualifying, nurturing, attracting, converting all of these people at the exact time that they need to be spoken to, but 24/7, 365? That is the system. And then, of course, like I said, we would then have a CRM that keeps track of customer engagement, needs, emails that come through, logs, calls, really in detail, puts together data points and fields within the CRM that really help create the customer persona. And so what you can do is once all of that data really starts to pile up, what you can do then is you can create audiences that are similar to those folks. And of course, we can get into that, but what I'm saying is that it starts to then, after a little bit of time, it starts to almost reinvest itself, right? Because now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking that ideal customer data and we're going to be creating new audiences within our traffic sources, which we'll go over next, about how to create more ideal customers so that we are filling up our pipeline and our database and our customer base with more of these ideal people. And so what we start to do is we start creating a circle or an ecosystem of perpetual traffic that is filling up our business with people who we actually want to do business with, right? So it's continuing to fuel the fire or put the right fuel in the engine to make us run better and longer and farther and faster, etc. So like I said, we're really starting to decrease sales cycles, decrease cost of sale, and increase our ROI of our sale, but all on autopilot. Does that make sense? So now let's instead of putting us behind the 8 ball, let's start talking about the big elephant in the room that everybody is always talking about, but it's not necessarily right where you need to start first, and that is the traffic source. Everybody thinks I have to have millions of followers online. I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. I'm here to tell you today that no, you don't have to do this. 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 And actually, it starts with one very simple step. And that is understanding who you're specifically looking to help. and how you want to help them. You might be thinking, well, that's really easy. I do this, and the solution is this. It's not what I'm saying. You need to dig deeper than that. You need to really get your hands in the mud on your ideal customer. You need to know what makes them tick. You need to know, shy of hiring a private investigator, which I don't recommend, you need to understand your customer at the most molecular level that you can, the most granular level that you can, so that you can answer their needs, solve their problems at that level. That's where you got to meet them, because it's not B2B marketing. It's not B2C marketing. In case for those of you who don't know, business to business is B2B and business to consumer is B2C. It's not that anymore, because in the digital age, it's no longer business as usual. What it is now is H to H marketing, human to human marketing. People, whether they're a business or whether they're a consumer, they're still a person. So are you going to go up to somebody in a restaurant, a bar and grill, what have you, and are you going to introduce yourself with a sales pitch? No, you're not. You're not going to go up to somebody and say, hey, I sell, my name is Daryl, I sell Hoover vacuums, I make this much a year. You're not going to recite those things. You're not going to give them your resume. Although that's really insightful and may have many accolades, you're not going to do that because you're not trying to talk to them as a business. You're not trying to talk to them as a salesperson. You need to talk to them as a human being. Get to know them as a human being. Be able to have a conversation with them. And the reason why this is so important with the traffic step is because your content needs to not only answer their question, solve their problem, but it also needs to convey that message, that solution, that answer in a very human to human conversation type of tone and manner. Because that means that somebody is going to be drawn more to you because you're taking down that wall of celebrity. That makes it so that somebody thinks, oh, this is just another robot. This is just another marketing piece. No, you are generally communicating with them on autopilot, of course, in your tone of voice and your words, the solution to their problem. It's remarkable. And we can do this all on autopilot. And all of this is happening to hundreds and thousands and millions of people, all at different points in their customer journey. And it's like having, instead of having employees, you're having like hundreds of foot soldiers, thousands, tens of thousands, millions of foot soldiers that are doing all of this qualifying and prospecting and all of entering all these data points, all for you on autopilot. So now whenever we're talking about human to human marketing, let's say we were doing email marketing to a list. Okay. And of course, still as it was true then, it is true today. The list is where the money is. So whether you're running Facebook ads to build a list or whether you already have a list and you're looking to upsell them with services, here we need to make sure that our message is displayed and presented with the tonality of our business, how we do things, who we are. But it's answering their question, what they truly need, not what you think they need, right? Because too often we have literally been in situations where we thought, okay, here is our service that we think is going to answer your problem, but do you ever really know specifically what their problems are? Every single problem that they have? Probably not. What keeps them up at night? Because it might be this big thing, but there are a truckload of things underneath that got to that big thing. So we need to understand those. So before we even launch one email campaign, run one ad, you have to do a lot of homework on your ideal prospect. And the way that you do that is just like you did the little exercise before and you said, okay, here's the ideal deal-making process. Here's the perfect deal. If I could wave a magic wand, here is what that deal would look like and how it would go. We also then need to take a few seconds and say, who would I not mind taking a phone call from in the middle of the day? We could chat it up, ask how the families are doing, but of course, solve a couple of problems. Who would I not mind running into at the grocery store or a backyard barbecue? Who would I not mind hanging out with, but also still we're doing business together to help each other? What does that person look like to you? Go ahead, take a second, write that down, and really think about who that person is that you would not mind chopping it up with, seeing somebody at a barbecue, spending time with. Okay. Now that you have that ideal person, what we need to say is, okay, apart from the general pedigree information of age, gender, education level, those things, we really need to dig deeper. Where are they spending their time online, right? What websites, blogs, where are they looking for their answers to questions and things like that? What magazines are they looking at? What books are they reading? What are their values? What are their goals? What are their objections that they might have to your service? Or really, to anybody in your industry, right? Because obviously you more than likely have a competitor. Here is a little ninja tip in terms of finding out objections, because of course, how could we possibly know, right? Well, here's a little ninja tip. Find out who your top competitors are. Go on to their Facebook page, or go on to their Instagram, or go on to their blog, and start looking at their comments from their posts, right? And start looking for the comments in terms of people and how they're asking for more information, right? And so what that means is that post that they put out there for their audience, they didn't quite answer the need of the person. So what you do is you take those questions and you create content, whether it's videos, blog posts, ebooks, etc. You create content to distribute amongst those traffic channels to answer those questions that your competitor did not. Because the fastest way to get leads and sales in the door is to do something that your competitor was not willing to do, or could not do, or didn't know to do, right? So that's like low-hanging fruit. That's a little ninja trick there for you to help find out those objections and concerns. Because what you're going to be able to do is create content to answer those ahead of time. Because in the ideal deal, the perfect deal process, when you remove all of the no's and objections and roadblocks, all you have left are yeses. So when you're putting this in your system and creating this system, this automated system, this is answering all of those questions while your system is qualifying all of these people, and it's doing it all on autopilot. So when somebody like books a call with you as an insurance agent, for example, you have already provided all the content that literally takes away all of their questions or all of their concerns, and you're on the phone with somebody that's very educated. So they might say, okay, we're ready to rock and roll. I don't have any questions. My only question is, when does my premium get drafted every month? Is it the 1st or is it the 14th or is it at the end of the month? Where do I sign? So obviously that would shorten the sales cycle, decrease the cost of the sale, and increase your ROI, but on autopilot. So obviously, in terms of like email marketing, for example, if you're offering a new service, or in terms of traffic sources, and we chose email marketing for this one, if you're offering a new service or to get somebody to renew with you, obviously you create some content based on those values of what somebody else is looking to get, what more they need. I mean, you could do this through automated surveys. You send out a link to your current customer base, and you say, hey, what do you guys want more of? Obviously, probably in different words, but what else do you need? How else can we maximize your time with us? And you'll get answers back. And what you do is you create content answering those exact survey questions that your audience is looking for. You can create services, new products, all kinds of new things based on them telling you what you need or what they need. So what you're doing now is you're giving the people what they want and need. So it's going to keep the retention of your customers with you. And also, just so that you're aware, you barely had to pick this thing up and call anybody. This is all digital. This is all on autopilot. So in this case, if you were, obviously running an email marketing campaign, once you've had those surveys answered, you had the content to answer those surveys. Let's say it was just your new blog post or an ebook, and it was just a short content piece that was answering all of those questions and needs and objections. You then send it out to your list, okay? And you simply ask for them to book a call. Here's some new information on our service offerings. We asked and answered. We heard you loud and clear. Let's get you set up. Let's book a call to have a conversation about how we can maximize your time with us and maximize this, that, and the other thing for you. They're going to book a call, and the call is going to go great, and they're going to upgrade to the service more often than not because you already took away all their no's, because you already answered the questions from the surveys. So you already answered all their objections. You solved all their problems. So they're ready to upgrade, right? They just want to know, where do I sign? And so that was one traffic source that you were able to then bring into an email marketing campaign that started to nurture them and really started to tell them how we can help them more, how you can help them more. And then you presented them with an automated calendar link like Calendly or Schedule Once or Acuity, something like that. They booked a call with you. You literally didn't have to call them. You didn't have to do anything. You just jumped on this pre-scheduled call that was booked automated for you. Both, everybody got a notification on their calendar. You guys joined the call at the same time, closed the deal, and you just keep doing that. And all of that is happening on autopilot. That's just one instance. And that is a system. And then the system is turned on with the traffic source field that comes into the system. So you can see how this really starts to maximize and benefit your business. And this, my friends, is the secret sauce. How online success is made, how it's generated. And it's also rinse and repeat. And it's 24/7, 365. And it just keeps going. It never takes a holiday. It never takes a coffee break, never takes time off, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't have to pay its benefits. But these are all pillars that you need in your business to be successful today. Because I guarantee you that your competitors are also catching on to this. So guys, if you have any questions about this, support@convertsource.com. Right? This was the secret sauce to how you can be successful online. Of course, we only went over a couple of different scenarios, but this can literally be implemented in any business, in any niche, in any vertical, in any industry, with any service, with any product, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There is no excuse that could make it so that a system like this would not work for your business. It's just not. There are literally people in New York City teaching people how to launch successful hot dog carts by using digital marketing to bring people into their course. Because they ran a hot dog cart in New York City for so many years, now they're making millions a year, teaching people how to do the exact same thing. All right? Any product, any service, any niche. Guys, support@convertsource.com. If you want to get started, if you want to start to generate more success online, if you want to start to automate your business, decrease your sales cycle, decrease your cost of the sale, increase your ROI, and put it all on autopilot, support@convertsource.com. Thank you so much for listening today, guys. I really hope that this is providing you with value, honestly, comfort to let you know, hey, there is a way for me to be successful. I can monetize my idea. I can live the life that I want to live. That is a success metric of ours. If you have a story like that, or if you need help, support@convertsource.com. We'd be happy to help you in any way we can. Thank you so much for watching, listening, wherever you're consuming this content, in the car. Hope you're driving safe. If you're just kicking back and listening to this, if you're cutting the grass, whatever you're doing, thank you so much for listening. I wish you nothing but health, wealth, and happiness, success, and nothing less. Thank you so much. God bless. Be great. And we'll see you next week, guys.
When you want your leads and sales on autopilot and to accelerate your business, you come to the source. The Convert Source Podcast with Alex Kubasek. Let's go.